the government knows what is happening.
What is going on in the skies? There's a riddle in the sky. New constellations form above New Jersey. Is this the coming of new celestial prophets? Are these the fires and chariots described in Scripture? Or are these government exercises that are likely orchestrated to maneuver power delicately and gently in this purgatorial moment in America where the Biden and Harris administration is winding ineluctably and inevitably down, and the Trump administration and inauguration has yet to happen? Is there a connection, let me know in the comments and chat, between the fact that we're in a liminal space politically and that there are these extraordinary stories unfolding? Like, now, we've tried this, we've tried that, we've tried bringing him down through the judiciary, we've tried the fact that voter ID ain't required in the states where Democrats win. Almost 100% crossover. On Kamala's beloved Venn diagrams, states that don't require voter ID and Dem states is a 100% crossover. So what does that mean? Let's have a look at a bit of regular legacy media reporting on the drone activity above the skies in New Jersey before unpacking the extraordinary stories that Joe Rogan has commented on and the insider whistleblowers are saying. These are drone drills above the sky. And even Roseanne Barr, who I just love Roseanne more than ever, says that this is part of Project Bluebeam. Where do you land on all of this? Let's have a look what the legacy media are telling us.
You know, when things like this are happening, it seems everyone starts to look up, like my crew and I have been here in Mendham recording this video that you're looking at right now. We have no idea what it is, if it's a natural phenomenon, because it could be, but this is why so many municipalities are now asking people to reach out and send their videos to them or to experts who might be able to sort out what they're seeing in the skies. But I guarantee there are so many people looking up and making those recordings because this mystery is one that needs to be solved.
That newscaster has got the same expression on her face, and I'm saying this with love and respect for her, that beautiful child of God, that I remember from watching the news all my life as a kid. Well, over to you back in the studio. But my jaw is on the floor because what I'm looking at is a shimmering orb in the sky. Now, I'm sure it is government technology. If I had to guess, if I had to take a test, it's government technology and it's sort of part of some deep state orchestration and attempt to manage political power. That would be my guess. But I do believe actually that we are not alone. I believe that we occupy, let alone galaxy, solar system with other entities, maybe a planet with other entities and beings. And me as a little student of Timothy Good and Eric von Daniken, I feel like, oh man, like that is an extraordinary entity in the sky. And what amazes and baffles me is to see the news reporter, okay, well, we must have an explanation for this. Do you think that ultimately this is going to lead to, and that is why we are going to remain in office for a little while? Because do you think, let me know in the comments and chat if you agree with this, all of the things that they accuse their enemies of, they themselves are guilty of. Like, you know, like, isn't there a lot of weird stuff going on with children? I see the word adrenochrome in the Rumble chat. Isn't there like a weird, like, and in this case, I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about the fact that their main point of contest during the campaign was if Trump wins, he's going to make himself a dictator for life. Do you think that this is connected perhaps to an attempt to usurp the proper procedure of power? Well, let me know in the comments and chat. Let's watch the rest of this.
For now, we're live here in Mendham Borough. Tony Yates, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Lee's saying he's wondering whether or not that might be the moon, Tony, but...
Oh, wait a minute. That's the moon, Tony. That's the moon. There's nothing to worry about. That's been there for a while. David Icke. The moon is a space base. Well, maybe it is, Dave. Maybe it is.
You pointed out it's exactly the question people are asking. What is it?
No. Yeah.
Nope, I can confirm. That's what the news has become. The news is amazing now. Nope, that's the moon, and that's some sort of spaceship or military exercise. Thanks for watching, kids. Take the jab, shut your mouth.
Yeah, no, we're looking at the moon right now, and that's nowhere near the moon.
Okay.
Oh, mate, it's nowhere near the moon. That's the news. It's falling apart. It's over, isn't it, for the legacy media? It's totally over. They spent the whole of the last 4 years saying, don't vote for Trump. And then they said, before that, it was, take this vaccine. And now it's like, well, the moon's there and that's over there. I don't know. Do your best. Figure it out for yourselves. You'll probably be able to get a better take on this from, I don't know, Joe Rogan or somebody. Try Theo Von. He seems to know where it's at. Amazing stuff. Trump is saying, of course, that the military know what's going on behind these riddles in the sky.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it...
Trump sniff is a tell, isn't it, that? Do you know the Trump sniff? It's one of his tells. I'm not saying I know what it indicates, actually, but I feel like it's a kind of a doubling down on the certainty. Let me know in the comments and chat what you think the Trump sniff means. I, again, would have to double down on Chappelle's famous SNL point. That is not normal presidency. Can you imagine in a million years, Clinton, Obama, Biden sort of going, the government knows. Like, it's just... What? You know, like Watergate, Iran-Contra. Think about the ways that those sort of muddled, befuddled controversies played out in media. Now there's this guy that just goes, the government knows his government stuff. I mean, like, I know, saying this makes it like sound like I'm trying to say I was ahead of the game when I'm not trying to say I'm ahead of the game. I'm behind. I don't know what's going on. But I just remember as a kid when I was into conspiracy theories and UFOs and dropping LSD and all of that stuff, it's so strange that the President of the United States talks like that. Like just sort of like the government knows this is a government exercise. I mean, that's like stuff you used to read like little esoteric books about it. Is Don Jr. your buddy, Russell? Yeah, I know Don Jr. I like the Trump administration better than any alternative by a long way. I'm just saying that I still have questions about how institutional power operates. That's my position. Like you should, I would advocate for that for you as well. That you don't turn it into a sport where you start thinking human beings are messiahs, whether they're Hollywood stars or political figures or whatever. Everyone's the same as you. Everyone, unless they awaken. You know what I think about all that. Hello, Christmas is almost here, and if you'd like to focus on what truly matters this season, then you should check out Hallow and their new Advent Pray 25 challenge. I talk about Hallow all the time, don't I, and how much I love using the app. I do the rosary on there pretty frequently with Jonathan Rumi. Jesus is my body double. They're the #1 prayer app in the world, and their Advent prayer challenge called For God So Loved the World will help you grow closer to God and make the lead up to Christmas really transformative. In the challenge, my friends Bear Grylls and Jonathan Rumi from The Chosen guide you through the book, A Severe Mercy, a remarkable story of a couple's encounter with God. You'll also hear from Hasta Francis Chan and my buddy, hello, I'm Jeff Cavins, as they take you through reflections on scripture, and Kevin James, the actor, will be part of the challenge to discuss the spiritual classic, Divine Intimacy. You'll even hear Advent music from award-winning artists like Gwen Stefani, Laura Day, Matt Marr and more. So get 3 months free when you sign up at hallow.com/brand. Don't lose sight of the real reason for the season. Jesus! Once again, that's hallow.com/brand to get 3 months of Hallow absolutely free. God bless.
They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people. And they should, because the people are really, they happen to be over Bedminster.
We should know that
they're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
Have you been?
Do you have any reason to think they're?
Right, so have you received a intelligence briefing on the drones? I don't want to comment on that. Means yes, and so he factually knows. So that's what the sniff was.
You hear all of these officials. You've heard a lot of concern, a lot of coverage. Where are you tonight on this?
As we look at the information we've got, Brett, and we've now examined some 5,000 different sightings, we've added detection capabilities, additional observers. As you and I stand here today, to date...
A bit of language. As you and I stand here today, me as John Kirby with my face and my head, the information we have is reliable.
Our assessment is that this is lawful, legal, commercial, hobbyist, and even law enforcement aircraft activity. Some of it's manned, some of it's unmanned. We absolutely acknowledge that a lot of these are probably drones, but they're flying legally, and it is legal.
There's nothing wrong with flying drones. I watched E.T. I liked that little fella. He was great. Glowing finger. Now, what did the government do? Increasingly, you sort of look at the films you watched as a kid, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There's the abducted one that's got Walken in it. Let me know in the comments and chat what the Chris Walken one was. The E.T. Continually, we were being told, weren't we? And did you hear the potentially apocryphal tale of when President Reagan, I believe, turns to Spielberg, I guess, on a viewing either Close Encounters or E.T. and says, there's only a few people in the room who know how true this is. My little buddy E.T. being one of them. Oh, that's right, Ron. That's right, Ron. In fact, Ronald Reagan and E.T. even sounded like, whoa, maybe the White House has been captured by extraterrestrials for a long time ago. Pretty plainly, this is government and military activity. That's my perspective. Let me know in the comments and chat if you agree with that. But also true is, extraterrestrials are for sure real. For sure. No doubt about it. And I might even go so far that the God of planet Earth would be the God of the whole universe, it's said again and again. And maybe there are different timelines, different levels of reality. Why don't we open our mind to all of this right now? I mean, if this is mainstream news now, if mainstream news is, yeah, these are in the sky, they're totally legal and lawful, then what you've got to open your mind to is the potential depth, scope, and breadth of reality. It's beyond not only what we do imagine, but what we can imagine, as the great late Terence McKenna used to say.
To fly drones in non-restricted airspace as long as you're registered with the FAA, and there's thousands and thousands of these kinds of flights every single day. I think there's more than 1 million drones that are registered with the FAA just in the United States alone.
Pick a narrative. Should we be afraid or should we not be afraid? Here's Joe Rogan on this. This is the first video about these drones that's got me genuinely concerned. Let me know in the comments and chat if you've seen the video that Rogan is referring to. Let's take a little look at it together now.
Back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay. We don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay? That is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. We all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. They knew that warhead was on its way to the United States. That's all that ever came of it. Nothing ever happened. This government did not do anything at all to help this gentleman raise the alarm and raise awareness that there is a very deadly weapon on its way to the United States. It's out there. Nobody knows where it's at now. It left Europe. Now it's gone. So my guess, my own guess, is that these drones are not nefarious in intent. If they are, they are. but I doubt it. But if they are drones, the only reason why they would be flying and flying that low is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. That's it. There's no other reason for a drone to be flying in the air.
Colorado watching the chat, wild speculation coming in hot. A lot of people think this dude's a kook, but it's interesting, isn't it? Is he really the CEO of the thing? Well, let me know in the comments and chat. Keep letting me know, actually. You are letting me know in the comments and chat, but let me know more what you think of this guy. I suppose we're looking at it because Rogan commented on it, and I suppose, again, like you, this is, I guess, what you would get, if I dare say it, typical Rogan, of it's tying together something pragmatic with something esoteric and conspiratorial liminal. One of Joe Rogan's gifts, I might argue, is to say, like, where is there a rational explanation for this? Is it to do with nuclear warheads? Let me know. Let me know if you agree with this. What I would say about the drone issue is this. Many of you watching have been fascinated by extraterrestrials and UFOs for a long while, and are probably at the point that celestial non-human entities have been interacting with human beings for a long, long while. In fact, all those people that have been going to Roswell to make pilgrimages, and I use that word deliberately, were ahead of the curve with their intuition that there was something real, something went on that day that was significant. Oh, that was a weather balloon. That's what you said instead of drones in 1947. I would say that it's quite likely that there is some interface between celestial metaphysical activity and what we now understand as UFO activity. Clearly, plainly, there are numerous categories, perhaps even infinite fragmented categories when it comes to discussing non-terrestrial information, because we don't even understand what's happening in the submolecular world on our own planet. We're having to sort of scratch our heads in total bafflement at a super state of potentiality that can create infinite possibility and simultaneous realities. It's just beyond understanding. So as we sort of step outside of our limited purview, all we've got is conjecture. How can we not see that we are merely the medieval peasants of our time, scratching our chins and wondering what it might all be and what it might all mean? For it is not given to us to know and to understand what we will one day understand. And can we not see that the machinations, manoeuvring and Machiavellian manipulation of the powerful plays out through media, whether it's a subject like take this drug or stay in this house or vote for this candidate or eat this food or shut your mouth. Each one of those strings is tethered to a particular, I would say, and ultimately singular entity that wants to capture control. These are things that you can learn about in your own time, as I am doing as best as I can. What our job is, I believe, is to remain discerning, to continually awaken, keep our mind open to possibility, but not so open that we lose our perspective, and be ready to be edified, educated, elevated, escalated, and improved at any moment. And that this improvement doesn't often happen as a result of personal endeavor, but I would argue, contest, even testify by personal surrender. So what are these drones? In this instance, it's likely military activity. Have there been interactions between governments and extraterrestrial species? Almost certainly. Is much of the technology that we utilize today likely a result of private relationships between entities that are non-human or non-temporally or spatially located here? I would say that's something that we should really consider together openly. Not that human brilliance isn't magnificent and hasn't come up with 1,000 wonderful things, from the electric toothbrush to whatever those things are above New Jersey. But remember, take the rudimentary appraisal that most atheists would accept. What is genius? What is genius? Let me know in the comments and chat. Isn't one example and one explanation the intervention of understanding and information that's difficult to understand humanly, whether that's the way that certain athletes play their game or the way that certain scientists suddenly awaken to the possibility of that which was previously unknown. So, in conclusion, the New Jersey drones, likely a government operation based just on the evidence we've looked at today. John Kirby's ways, Trump's intervention, the news's coverage of it. You can usually work out the truth by watching legacy media. It's the opposite of what they're telling you. That's not bad as a text post, Luke. In this case, I would say Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't let go of the possibility that extraordinary things are happening right now just because this is a material, rational psyop. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.